so first off, I want to wish everyone here a Happy New Year, and I hope you guys all had a great start to year 2018. If you remember one of my previous videos I did on the Saab 9X concept, while I was doing research on that, I stumbled across an article on the 9.3 PhoeniX. And I kind of skimmed it a bit because I was in the middle of working on the 9X video, but I figured I'd save it and come back to it, and it was an article that was published on Jalopnik, and I'm going to be using pretty much everything from this video from that article. So huge props to that article. A link to it will be in the description if you guys are interested in reading more on it. Today I'll be going more in depth on the 9.3 PhoeniX and explaining to you guys basically what it is and how it would have been the replacement for the current 9.3 or the 9.3 that was made from 2003 to 11 or 12. So the one thing that I want to get out of the way in my first impression of this car is that it looks so similar to the new Honda Civic. Now do not take that in the wrong sense, because especially from this side profile here, to me, I don't know, I think those fenders and the hood line, it just looks so similar to the new Honda Civic from the side. That's just my opinion, and again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but again, this was of course also designed before the new Honda Civic came out. This article was from 2013. So the 9.3 PhoeniX was essentially paying homage and going back to Saab's 900, the older 9.3 that, you know, the hatchback styling that they had and kind of that iconic look. So it has that, you know, that sloping rear roof and the hatchback trunk, of course, just to kind of go back to that, because that's kind of what put Saab on the map in the first place. I feel like you can make that argument. And unfortunately, of course, Saab did go bankrupt and was shut down by GM before this went into production. But of course, you always got to wonder, what would have this done? Would it actually have had a chance to bring Saab back and make them a lot of money? Because this was at the same time that cars like the Tesla Model S, the Audi A7, you know, other cars that have that hatchback look kind of started to get popular. So I'm wondering that, of course, this wouldn't have been a $70,000 car like the A7 or the base model Tesla, but you gotta wonder, would this have sort of caught on and become really popular, because there is a growing demand for cars like that. So here's kind of the main highlights of the article that the author goes over, and they talked to Jason Castroida, the designer of a lot of the newer Saabs. Specifically, I mentioned him in the Saab PhoeniX concept video. He was a big designer in that. But basically, some of the main points that they went over were that the 9.3 PhoeniX design might come back under NEVs, which I think is something really exciting that we can look forward to. So to quote from the article here, Castroida said, "I can't say we've been in the talks about this, but it makes a hell of a lot of sense to build what we've already made." And that he says he wouldn't call the design dead. So of course the 9.3 PhoeniX was not going to be an all-electric car. It was going to be, I think they said, a hybrid. We'll talk about that later. But it can't, of course, be retooled to be an electric car. I mean, as you're seeing with the NEVs 9.3 now, it's been turned from a gasoline-powered car or diesel-powered car into an all-electric car. So this 9.3 PhoeniX wasn't a concept car. It was a car that was ready for production, according to Castroida and other Saab people. He said that, you know, this was a car that Saab was getting ready to make, and that they weren't going to make 5 or 10 years from when they had those visions. It was a car that they were going to make maybe 1 or 2 years down the road instead. So then, of course, what I just touched on, the all-new 9.3s would have been all-wheel drive hybrids, and this has also been reported elsewhere, but again, I think I mentioned this in the Saab PhoeniX video, where they said they were going to use the BMW 4-cylinder turbo with front-wheel drive and then use the electric motors to power the rear. I'm pretty sure that was the same exact idea that they had with the Saab PhoeniX. And again, the Saab PhoeniX was just alluding to what Saab was going to be in the future, not necessarily a production car. Then, of course, the 9.3 PhoeniX did have a very unique size and shape to it from that time. And then Castroida said that size-wise, the 9.3 was somewhere between a BMW 3 Series sedan and the 3 Series wagon, which makes complete sense. And like the final 9.5, the new generation 9.5, it was bigger than they anticipated it to be, which I think is definitely a good thing, because as we've seen in recent years, the demand for bigger cars has grown. I mean, you look at a Toyota Corolla from 15 years ago, and then you look at a Toyota Corolla today, it's such a bigger car. You just look at all, you know, older cars compared to newer cars. New cars have just gotten so much bigger, so I think that that is definitely an advantage more than it is a disadvantage. So he also said that it was a hatch, but a sedan version would also be available too. So I think that's promising. I'll see if I can find some pictures of what the sedan version was supposed to look like. Probably similar to what the Nev's 9.3 looks like, but I think the hatchback was really what they were super excited about and were ready to introduce and kind of hoping would spark Saab and bring it back again. And then here's the questionable part that, of course, I think all Saab enthusiasts like, but the accountant or the marketer in everyone just face palms because they know it's not a good idea. Of course, they put the emphasis on its Saabness, and this quote right here: "The car wasn't made to be a competitor to a 3 Series or anything else, it was made to be its own thing," and he feels that they succeeded. So of course that is a good thing for Saab fans, because it's still going to be a Saab and it's still going to be its own unique thing, but at the same time, that's going to have a tough time appealing to the BMW fan or the Audi fan or someone who's in the market for something of that nature, and they see, look at the BMW and the Audi and the Mercedes, they're all selling super well, they're all super successful. Why should I go with this 9.3, which is the same price as the other cars, over the Audi or the BMW or Mercedes? It just doesn't make sense to most consumers, which is really unfortunate, because, you know, all Saab people know how great these cars are, but, you know, unfortunately a lot of other people don't. So I don't know, guys, there it is. That's pretty much all the main points from the article here. Again, if you would like to read it in depth, there'll be a link to it right at the top of the description there. So shout out to Jalopnik for making this article, I guess. I mean, I thought it was very interesting to read. Let me know what you guys think of the design of the 9.3 PhoeniX down below in the comments. I really do like it. I think it's a very, very good looking car. It definitely still has that Saab look to it, and it's basically a modern take on the older 9.3s and the 900s. I think it does also share a lot of looks with the 9.5, which I definitely think is a good thing, but I'm going to stop rambling at this point. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, and I'll see you all next time.